Hello, the Pioneer viewers. How are you doing? I hope you're healthy and well. As the Pioneer team, we continue to bring the developments regarding the Russia-Ukraine war to your screens. In a moment, we will share with you a very remarkable development related to the war. Of course, our main subject in today's report is the drones of the Ukrainian army. The Ukrainian army, which has been dealing heavy blows to the Russian army since the beginning of the war, is achieving very important successes. The attack that took place in the past days can cause big problems in Russia. So what are the details of this attack? Let's take a look at the developments together. As the Pioneer team, we are trying to bring the Ukrainian-Russian war to your screens. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss our map reports and reports on the agenda on the Russia-Ukraine war. I also read all your comments about our content. Please continue to share your ideas with me. Thank you in advance for your nice comments. Let's start if you are ready, the Pioneer reports. So first of all, let's briefly talk about the importance of exports and ports of Russia. As you know, Russia faced a big embargo with the beginning of the war. As long as the embargo continues, the Russian government and the Russian war leadership are dragging in the Russian people into an even more difficult situation. The available means should be used in the best way. However, this is not the case. The Russian people are getting into a more difficult situation day by day due to the mistakes of the Russian leadership. But let's point out the following. This situation is increasing the anger of the Russian people step by step. If this anger reaches the point of the explosions, it will both benefit Ukraine and help the Russian leadership, especially the President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, to prevent the targets. In the last attack, there was an incident that increased this possibility. Ukrainian drones once again carried out an incredible operations within the borders of the Russian Federation. The Russian territory was once again the target of the Ukrainian drones at night. According to reports, a huge explosions occurred as a result of the attacks by the Ukrainian drones. The target of the Ukrainian drones was the port of the north of Russia. The name of this port is Ost-Luga. According to reports, a coal terminal in this region was also hit. As a result of this hit, a big fire occurred. Allegedly, there was also an oil terminal in this harbor. Since this report is quite new, we don't yet been able to confirm all these claims. However, images from the region shows that the explosions in the region were quite violent. In addition, users claiming to live close to these regions also claimed that the explosions were heard over a wide area with their posts on social media. This is a point quite far from Ukraine. As we have shared many times in our previous reports, the range of the Ukrainian army's drones has increased considerably. Many cities such as Moscow and St. Petersburg have been targeted by the drones many times. However, such a remote region was directly targeted for the first time during the war. It is claimed that the Russian Federation suffered losses worth billions of dollars with the attacks in question. This is a very serious situation. Images from the region already clearly shows that the Russia's losses is quite large. As seen in the images, the explosions almost turned into a night into sky. When we look at the Russian sources, we see that there is no official statements. However, we have also stated many times before, the silence of the Russian sources is usually in the periods of great losses. There are also many reports on the Russian unofficial channels. Although unofficial Russian sources report that the loss suffered as a result of this explosion is great, no loss of life is reported. We anticipate that we will reach more reports on this subject in the coming days. We need to mention the following issues here. The Ukrainian armed forces have really become quite good at unmanned aerial vehicles technology. Recently, Ukrainian sources shared images of jet-powered unmanned aerial vehicles that the Ukrainian army will soon start using. We think that we will enter a process in which the Ukrainian army will use unmanned aerial vehicles more actively. Although the Russian army is currently trying to advance on the front line, these attacks by the Ukrainian army will cause the Russian army to reduce the speed of its attacks. We have mentioned it before. The Ukrainian army claims that a new offensive will be launched in the summer. For this region, the Ukrainian army claims that a new offensive will be launched in the summer. For this reason, every attack made these days is more important. Another issues related to the Russian commanders destroyed on the front line. According to the claims of local sources, in recent days, the number of Russian commanders liquidated on the front line has increased considerably. These reports are generally not confirmed by the Russian sources. The reason for this is obvious. By concealing the liquidation of senior commanders, the Russian war leadership and the administration of the Russian Federation want to give a strong image against Ukraine and ensure the support of the Russian people for the war. However, recently a very striking report on the liquidation of a Russian commander was shared with the public. According to the reports in questions, Russian commander Vladimir Karakhubova was liquidated by the Ukrainian troops around Avdiivka. According to reports, Karakhubova was serving at the head of the separatist groups called Paitianska, which served in this region. According to the allegations, Karakhubova had been closely monitored by the Ukrainian intelligence in this region for some time. When he arrived in the vicinity of Avdiivka, the operation was launched. It is claimed that the operation to destroy Karakhubova was carried out by one of the special teams of the Ukrainian army. According to these allegations, this team, consisting of only 5 soldiers, approached the headquarters where Karakhubova was located. Meanwhile, Karakhubova was making preparations for a new attack and supervising his soldiers. The Ukrainian task force waited for a while. It did not make much sense to carry out the operation here. They therefore waited for the Karakhubova to leave the headquarters. It is alleged that the Ukrainian task force waited for 2 days. After 2 days, Karakhubova left the headquarters with his team. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian soldiers' squad continued to follow him. When Karakhubov's team took a break somewhere, the Ukrainian army and the Ukrainian team mobilized. According to reports, Karakhubova was destroyed by the Ukrainian sniper's shot. The Ukrainian team returned to the headquarters after a successful operation. The most remarkable aspect of this operation is that the Ukrainian troops can still infiltrate Russian positions. The Russian army has suffered many losses due to such operations. However, there are still no measures taken for the security of these positions. We are witnessing that especially those who support these separatist groups are reacting to the Russian war leadership. Every loss in the Russian army makes the Russian war leadership the target of reactions. What do you think? How do you think the Ukrainian drones can overcome long distances? How will the attacks on the harbor affect the Russian economy? Do you think that the Ukrainian military will carry out more similar attacks? What do you think about the destruction of the Russian separatist commander? Let me know in the comments. I read and care about all your comments.